world on my shoulders, a heart full of blues out in the dirt, down in the dirt.
Alright, so we've done this once already, and I mean all the way through. Started editing and realized some
He's not
issues.
as good as me, so we had to go redo him again.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Okay, so we're gonna try to do this again. We started out this morning good. We started early, we dropped off the kids. Yeah, we went to this beautiful beach. So they have this big old fire ring and we built a fire. And
it's gonna give you a pretty beach scenery background with the ducks flying and the eagles.
Two eagles flying above and all this other stuff. And it was awesome. And I guess God had some other plans. There was a gentleman that was walking down the beach, a younger fella, and he walked by. I guess he saw the camera and figured he'd turn around, and we ended up talking and having good conversation. And
for like a good solid 2 hours in about 18-degree weather and wind.
Yeah, so we were gonna once he left, we were gonna try to give it another shot, and it was just.
It was done. It was
too
cold. The camera was fogged up. My hands were like, I couldn't feel them, and so we just came back.
Where we left off in the last video was we made it to the Tennessee border, and of course we made it through Tennessee, and we stopped at some friends' house, the Haups, and we were stationed with the Haups up in Alaska. Everywhere you go in the military, you have to make your own family, and they were certainly that for us.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They when Kaylee was born, they kept Mason the whole time that we were in the hospital without hesitation, and they just really treated both of our kids like their own. So it was really nice to be able to go back and pick up where we left off and see the kids play with each other again, and they've got a really beautiful place, and so we really appreciate them.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember the most, obviously, was they've helped through hard times up in Alaska, and one of the funniest things was when I got promoted to staff sergeant.
Me and her got together and got Daniel's dad, Danny, to come in on a flight. So we were going to surprise him so he could attend his promotion ceremony. So I think we, I can't remember what Melissa had exactly told him it was about, but she said, because we had to stay up late because his flight got in like around midnight or something. And she said, you got to stay up and watch the news. I'm on there for whatever. And of course he believed her because it's Melissa. And so,
it's Melissa.
So, around that time, there was a knock on the door, and she had went and picked him up and brought him to the house, and so he was very surprised, and we got it on video, so that was nice. So. I know, which made it so much harder not to.
I swear to God, I thought about this earlier.
Yeah, no kidding. I couldn't even find the news channel.
So when we first got to their house, keep in mind that we're pulling a 26-foot long trailer, and it's 8.5 foot wide.
And this was at night.
It was at night, and you could see their driveway. I think their driveway is like 6 feet wide. Not really, but it's probably about 8 feet wide, and that caused our tires to hang off on both sides. And I didn't realize this until about halfway, about right here, is where I ended up going off the left side, and there's these bolts that hold the axle, and it was dragging on that, and it was making such a horrible racket. By that time, Mike had made it there. I was like, man, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on your driveway. And he's like, oh, no, just go ahead. And I was like, it's gouging it. And he's like, no, go ahead. It's happened before, so. And I did see some scratches there before, so I was like, okay, well, it happened one more time. And we ended up finally making it down the driveway. We ended up staying up until about 2 or so in the morning. And it was just as if, we had never been apart, which was really cool. The next morning when we woke up, We walked around. They have a very beautiful farm.
The kids got to play in a little bit of the rain and the mud puddles, and they had a good time.
They did. Ellie got to swim in the lake and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good time. After we left there, we drove up north to the Gilbert's house. So another military family that we were stationed with in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. You know, they did a lot. You know, when TC was pregnant with Mason, Jennifer and Heston arrived, and it wasn't.
It was very shortly after they arrived that they put together a baby shower for us. You know, Mason was our first kid. I mean, that was very sweet of them. They didn't have to do that, and you know, they've just been really good friends ever since. And you know, Jennifer and I have, when we were in Tennessee, pretty much were together every day. You know, the boys got to play a lot together, and I think today is actually Cole's birthday, so happy birthday,
happy
Cole.
Birthday.
12 years old. We'll start praying for you guys now, but no, they're good kids. And then, you know, him and Heston deploy together.
And we've had some good times. You know, we ended up trying to hook our trucks together and pull each other. He ended up pulling me. Unfortunately, I hate to admit that.
I can't believe you just said that.
But we've had a lot of good times. Again, I mean, both families, great families. We're blessed to have, you know, friends all the way across the nation that we could just stop by and kind of just catch up, and that was really awesome. So actually, right off the Gilbert's exit is Noah's Ark, so it was very convenient. We actually left their house in the morning, and we went to Noah's Ark, and it's incredible. I mean, just the size alone, when you walk up to it, it's the scale of it is just incredible.
Yeah.
And then you go inside, and it's really cool. It explains a lot of stuff. It really helps a lot of understanding.
And you're able to connect a lot more dots. If you were ever considering going, we highly recommend it. It's worth it. It's worth the drive. It's worth the money. Both the kids even enjoyed it at 6 and 7. We do want to take them back when they're a little bit older so they can kind of fully grasp everything. But we definitely do. We'll go there again without hesitation. And it should be an all-day thing because, you know, we were in the Ark all day long, and then we didn't even get to go see the animals in the zoo towards the end. Kaylee had actually told us when we got there, I really like that Noah's Ark, but man, it is super long. Like she was done. Like she fell asleep probably before we even got out of the parking lot. So both kids thoroughly enjoyed it. We all did.
Once we were done with Noah's Ark, we actually went back to the Gilbert's house and picked up our trailer, said our goodbyes, and then we drove up to Cincinnati, where the Creation Museum is. Now, it's kind of like they're
like sister
companies.
Yeah.
So when you buy tickets, you could buy tickets for Noah's Ark and the Creation Museum. So we went ahead and stopped there, but unfortunately, we got there about an hour before they closed. So we only got to spend just a little bit of time in there, but it's super cool. The kids really enjoyed it. I really wish we would have had more time to walk around, but they have this really cool movie theater where you go in and it explains a lot of stuff, and
it's like 4D.
Yeah.
So the kids really like that, and I think Daniel's favorite part was like where it actually rattles your chair and stuff.
Like
when
when
the thunder and stuff comes. Yeah.
When the water like splashes up, like it blows a little
air in your face,
and it kind of it's a full on experience. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
The kids really liked it.
So we left the Creation Museum. We tried to find the closest rest area. So we stopped at the rest area, and we stayed the night. And that's actually where I filmed the video about the trailer in the last video. After leaving there, we tried to make it up towards Chicago so we could actually just see it. It didn't add on a ton of mileage, so we just figured we'd see it a little bit. To say we've been there. I guess the route that we took, we saw it on the horizon. That was about as good as it got.
It wasn't even big enough to really actually take a picture, so we don't have any documentation of it. But
right. So we ended up going up through, and that's kind of where things started getting interesting. You know, the traffic through there was pretty intense. People was cutting us off, and
didn't care that we had a trailer, a big trailer in the back. They just, oh my gosh, it was horrible.
So the wind started blowing real hard, blowing us across the road, and I realized that our sway control had settled in. So we stopped, we pulled over, took a look at it, and readjusted everything, and that's kind of a process in itself. But we finally got it done, and it made a world of difference. So we ended up stopping, I think, one more time.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we stopped one more time, and actually on Alaska. So on
Alaska, it's one word.
Yeah.
O-N Alaska.
Yes.
We actually asked the cashier in Walmart, how do you pronounce this town? And she's like, on Alaska? Like, kind of like exactly how it's spelled. So just making sure.
We stopped at this rest area right on the Mississippi River, and that was pretty cool.
It was very
Didn't get very much footage.
Because it was very cold and very windy. Like, the camera would have probably just flew out of our hand. It just flew out of our hand.
So it was bitterly cold. We didn't get any footage of that. So we pushed on through all the way to the Badlands. We got there really late at night. Slept right there beside the gate. It was awesome. As soon as we woke up in the morning, we went over and we showed Mason and Kaylee, they had never experienced anything like that before, and they really thought it was cool. This was also a place that we
stopped during our honeymoon. So they thought it was neat that they kind of got to see what we saw before they were born. I think that they played on something called the Castle or something, which was probably one of my favorite spots.
We had a really good time at this place as well. Right here, once you kind of look through this window, you realize, you start looking over, it's like, maybe Mason and Kaylee should back up just a little bit. It's really pretty though. It's really beautiful, and
we'll put some pictures and videos and stuff, because I know there's a lot of people back home that
I'm actually doing the video, so that I know, when I'm editing.
So I could be making faces this whole time and it won't be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Clever.
After leaving this area, we actually got to see we got to see these rams on the side of the road. We got to see a lot of wildlife, the deer.
I mean, it was pretty much as soon as we got in. I mean, we just saw wildlife immediately.
So we made it through the Badlands. We got to see a lot of wildlife. Mason and Kaylee really liked this rock. They called it the Sid statue. For those of you that don't know, this is Sid. And this rock looked very much like this statue.
Did you really just put this picture over my head?
I did. So we ended up making it all the way through the Badlands, and we went to Mount Rushmore. We were kind of following the path of our honeymoon. We wanted the kids to experience it.
Mountain Rushmore!
So right before we got there, we were going through Keystone. And the hill, there was this big hill / mountain that we had to go up.
Do you remember what grade it was when you chose?
Well, I had the pedal to the metal, and we were going about 5 miles an hour.
It was true, Flintstone style, oh my gosh, is this gonna actually get up this hill?
I was concerned, really concerned for the first time, because I knew what we were going to experience in Canada, and was and we ended up making it up, and we had a good time. It was a little different. We got to experience a lot more when we were there on our honeymoon.
It was during the summer, so the whole park was open. They close it down in the winter, so you really only get to go through the gate and look at it from there. You don't get to go down in the trails and different areas of the park. So, and plus it was super windy that day too, and very cold. So, actually the wind almost knocked Kaylee over. I mean, she would walk, and as soon as one leg would go up to take another step, she'd wobble, and she's like, this wind is really hard.
I wish we would have got to spend a little bit more time there as well, but the kids get to say that they experienced it. So after leaving there, we ended up driving. We made it through Billings, and we were trying to make it maybe just a little bit further, because we were taking a little bit of time, and the wind was slowing us down, and we had good weather. We didn't have that headwind that we had been struggling with the entire time, so we were trying to make it a little bit further, and we make it through Billings, and Billings is really pretty. It has big bluffs on the side. It's pretty in the daytime, but it's especially pretty at night.
Our phones were dead, unfortunately, so we don't have any footage of that, but
Yeah, sorry.
just another excuse to go through there again soon.
We ended up stopping on the side of the road. This particular night, I was having some serious back spasms, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit, man, it was just miserable. So finally I just gritted my teeth and pushed through and just laid down. It was just a really rough night. Semi trucks would go by and it would like shake the whole,
vibrate,
shake the whole trailer going, 80 miles an hour past us. And man, that was just a rough night. And then the very next morning we have to wake up, make it to the Canadian border, and we figured that was going to be interesting, but
It was, to say the least.
It was, and we'll save that for the next video. This one's getting a little long.
Let's just say we're gun carrying people, and if you know Canadians, they're not really. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, to say the least. And but we'll save that for the next video.
He's excited for the next video for sure.
This next video is going to be a little more fun. This one's more just talking and explaining a few things, but this next one we'll try to make a little bit more interesting. We got caught up this morning and it took a little bit of time, but if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribing and hitting that little bell so you get notified for the next video. That would help us out a little bit. So we appreciate you guys watching. A lot of people have been giving us good feedback.
Okay, bye.